Welcome to Brainstorms and Bottom Lines. This is the show for leaders, entrepreneurs, and high performers who know that success isn't just about the numbers. It's about your mindset, your health, and your ability to think under pressure. From strategy and leadership to resilience, recovery, and navigating life's toughest challenges. It's time to get to work with your host, award-winning business coach, author, and three-time brain tumor survivor, Rick Franzo.
Welcome to Brainstorms and Bottom Lines. I'm your host, Rick Franzo. Today, we have the pleasure of having Brandon Hurd, the CEO of First Addition Outdoor Living and Remodeling with us here today. Brandon, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Rick. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. And it's a good thing that we're doing it now and not middle of the week. So we're in Pennsylvania for all of our listeners and viewers. And so this week, we're supposed to have I'm not a meteorologist. I don't even play one on TV, but we're supposed to have a heat dome over us that is going to give us the hottest temperatures we've had here in the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania since 1995. And so Brandon is going to be out in the elements, so to speak, with his team and doing what they got to do. So glad that we're getting this done, at least while you're not heat exhausted.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to be in the triple digits, I heard.
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. I don't know. I'm not built for that. I don't know.
I'm not looking forward to it either.
Definitely not. But let's get to it. So, a little bit about you, how long you've been doing construction and like kinds of things, and where you were and where you are today.
Been in the construction industry for going on 27 years now.
Wow.
Started as just a little one as a teenager. Different trades in and out, building houses, interior remodeling, landscaping, and eventually I landed in decking and outdoor living, which is where I love to be.
Excellent. And so, what made you decide on the decking and the outdoor living instead of new home construction or any of the multitude of different things that you can do in the building and construction industry?
It's a good question. I like being outside for starters, but there's something about building decks that I love doing it. I like seeing the transformation from when we get there to when we leave, and the look on our customer's face when everything's said and done, and knowing that they have a new space that they can enjoy for many, many years to come.
Well, that's awesome. So, what do you see that they're looking for the most these days? I mean, has there been a little bit of a transition? Like 10 years ago, they were looking for something certain, and now they're looking for something else?
Composite is getting more and more popular for, I would say, obvious reasons, but maybe not to everybody. It's becoming more well known. It's a low maintenance um, low maintenance material that lasts a lot longer, and the treated lumber is still, it looks good, but it just doesn't hold up the same. So people are tending to lean more and more towards the longevity of the composite materials.
Is it, and you said it's easier to clean, it's easier to maintain. It's, you can have it even if it's like shady and things like that, and you're still able to clean it off pretty efficiently and effectively, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's soft wash with the pressure washer every once in a while takes care of it. You don't have to worry about the sanding and staining, every year or two that you do with the lumber. So it definitely makes for a lot easier maintenance schedules.
No, absolutely. Budgeting for a project for a deck, right? No matter what the size, what are some of the things that you discuss with potential clients on if they're looking for that outdoor space? What does that process look like for you, and how do you really make that investment for them count, right? So that they're getting their money's worth and more.
Or you said budgeting. Are we talking planning for pricing, or are we talking planning for projects?
Well, let's talk about both now that you brought that up. So, planning for the project and then the pricing, how that kind of rolls into it and make it a bit seamless.
So as far as planning for the project, the sooner that you get started, the better. A lot of people will find that when they start calling around in the middle of June or July, that most, at least decent deck contractors, are booked up for a few months at least. And um, winter, I say, is the best time to get started because you can get on the schedule early spring and be able to enjoy your deck for the summer. Um, as far as budgeting, uh, it really comes down to, I guess, cost versus investment, cost over time versus upfront initial investment. So, I mean, your composite is going to be a larger upfront initial investment, but your lumber decks are going to cost the same, if not more, over time. When you count for all the maintenance, and if you have to hire somebody every couple of years to come out and restain it, and the inevitable having to rebuild it in 10 to 15 years, that you don't have to worry about with the composite.
So your decks are going to last, is what you're saying, right? They may outlive the homeowner. Who knows if that's going to be
That's
the case?
that's what we shoot for. Yeah, we definitely take a lot of extra precautions to make things last as long as possible. I know these are big investments for our customers, so we want to give them the biggest bang for their buck and protect it and guarantee that it's going to last as long as we can make it last.
I like it. So let's talk about two things. First, I'd like to talk about the structuring. So the piers that you put in and how you like to put them in, and uh, the second is joist tape. Something as simple as joist tape. But since we've been talking for, I don't know, the last 8 months, and joist tape was the first thing that I saw that I thought was fairly, I didn't know about it, right? But how it helps things last. So let's start with the structure itself. How do you install the piers? What is different the way that you do it than maybe some other contractors do?
So we use helical piles. A lot of other contractors will use concrete piers. We used to use them, and there's nothing wrong with them per se. But the helical piles are, in my opinion, more structurally stable. Um, Essentially, when you install the concrete, you basically dig to the minimum required depth, because the minimum required depth around here is 42 to 48 inches deep. And I don't know about you, but after I've dug down 48 inches deep, I don't want to keep digging just because I feel like keep digging. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, most people stop at the minimum depth and they'll pour their concrete and they'll build on that. And in most cases, that's perfectly fine. But occasionally you will get some soil that's not so great and will still allow for settling. With the helical piles, you don't have to worry about that. They are installed until they meet the torque requirement to carry the load. Oftentimes it's well beyond the 42 to 48 inches. We've had them go in as much as 8 feet deep. Uh, and I mean, they're backed by a guarantee themselves from the piles installer that they'll last 100 years. Uh, the other big perk is that we can build right away. With concrete, obviously, you got to wait until it sets up, 24 to 48 hours before you can start building on it. With the helical piles, we're there, we're building the day that the piles are installed, and we can get the deck finished faster.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. That's pretty good information. Joist tape. Tell me about the joys of joist tape.
I don't know about the joys of it. It's
I'm trying to make
it's
this fun. Don't blow it for
yeah,
me.
yeah, it is a bit tedious to install, but it's a step that we incorporate on every single one of our builds. Today's lumber is not treated the same way it was 20, 30 years ago, and it just simply doesn't last as long. So we apply joist tape to every horizontal framing surface when we build with treated lumber. And what that does is it basically it prevents the water from penetrating into the wood and prolongs the rot, especially where the screws penetrate the wood. So I have seen some other instances where people use like flashing tape, but it's not
Okay.
quite the same thing. Joist tape is a specifically designed butyl tape that seals around the screws. So that's what helps to prevent the water from leaching in at the screw holes and rotting the framing from the inside out. And like I said, that's just something that we've incorporated on all of our builds. Uh, we started a few years ago as a standard moving forward, just to one of those measures that we use to make sure that our clients get the most life out of their deck.
Hmm. I think that our questioning is going to shift to being a business owner. So, what is the best thing? Started off on a positive note. The best thing about being a business owner, working for yourself, creating job opportunities for others. What's the best thing that you can think of that is the benefit of you being in business for yourself?
Knowing that every job that I'm on is one less job that somebody has to worry about. Knowing that we do right by our clients and that they don't have to worry. So that's one less customer out there that has to worry. I know that they're taken care of.
How about the biggest challenge since you started your business? It's hard to narrow down just one because businesses, I mean, they have a plethora of challenges, right?
Mhm.
But if we can talk about maybe just one, if you want to add another one in, nothing negative, but a real challenge that people maybe don't realize when they go into business, and they find out pretty darn quick what that is.
Time, there's
Yeah.
not enough of it. Between running the jobs, selling the jobs, doing the behind the scenes, answering the phone, there's just never enough time. And that has been my biggest challenge throughout the years was just finding the time to do everything that needs to be done.
And how are you remedying that now for your business? This has been a really different year for you, right? Because of you've adjusted the structure of your business quite a bit. But as it pertains to time and priorities, what looks different this year than maybe previous years?
Well, for starters, I'm working with an awesome growth coach who's helping me to find the right people to put in the right positions and help delegate some of those tasks so that I can get some of that time back, but also helping me to determine which tasks should take priority and where to focus most of my energy so that I can eventually get all of that time back.
Sounds like you work with a pretty amazing guy. I'd like to meet this character at some point. Sounds like he's good looking. I'm sure. I mean, not as good
Absolutely.
looking as you, but you know. Let's go back to the weather for a second, since that's a big topic. How did the weather conditions here in the Poconos really adjust uh, how you're going to do the work, or what kind of a deck you're going to actually put on for somebody, or it could be some other project that you have. How does that affect it? Because we have very hot summers. This is going to be a doozy, right? But we also have very cold winters. There's a lot of, sometimes we get a ton of rain. If you're in a certain part where it's really wooded, a lot of moisture, a lot of moss, a lot of mold and things can grow onto an outdoor structure. How does the weather really help you determine with the client what the deck is going to be composed of, or put up, or anything like that? Is that a fair question?
It is, yeah. I almost always try to recommend a composite for damp areas, um, places like especially in the woods, shaded areas where you're going to get a lot of moisture and stuff. Um, I mean, generally for this area, I would recommend a composite in pretty much any direction because the extreme sun can cause some crazy things to happen with wood too. So um, now there is the expansion and contraction of composite that you have to take into consideration. So there are different types of composite out there that we work with. Some are better for expansion and contraction. Some are worse. In this area, with the extreme temperature swings, PVC has the most expansion and contraction. It's an
Mm,
awesome material to work with, but it moves the most.
that's good information.
Mineral-based composite is going to be the least expansion and contraction.
Mm. Interesting. So, if our listeners remember one thing about designing their dream outdoor living space, what do you think it should be? One thing. What's their one big takeaway that they should really take from seeing this show, and what it is if they want to really design their outdoor living space?
One thing, it's hard to narrow it down to one thing. There's so many things to take into
Give me as
consideration.
many as you want.
Um, Picking your material is definitely something that you should take into consideration. Um, the wood is always going to be the lowest upfront cost, but it's always going to be the most long-term cost.
Hmm.
And then you have your composites. There's more than one type of composite out there, so whoever's doing your deck, talk to them, figure out which composite is going to work best for your situation. A mineral-based composite is my favorite to work with, and I like it for the least amount of expansion and contraction. Um, Other people might like working with different products, so just talk to your deck builder and find out what's going to suit your area best. Um, and then layout. Layout's a big one. If uh, if you host a lot, you might need more space than you think.
Good point. Good point. We got to have a place to put those deviled eggs. So yeah, that makes a ton of sense, right?
Yeah.
What areas in Pennsylvania do you serve? What's your area of service here?
We primarily focus on Carbon and Monroe counties. We do move down into the Lehigh Valley a little bit. Um, we are expanding a little farther into that region, but uh, northern Lehigh Valley, Carbon and Monroe counties.
Okay, very good. And if anybody wanted to get a hold of First Edition Outdoor Living and Remodeling, how would they do that?
Just give us a call. 484-983-1240. You can also visit our website, firsteditionremodeling.com.
Excellent. This has been a pleasure to have you here. We all know so much more about decks. If you need a new deck or outdoor living space, or remodeling, right? We didn't talk anything about remodeling. This is all about the summer and the decks and everything
Hmm.
else. Give Brandon and his team a call. They'll come out there and they'll take care of you. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
being here, Brandon.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
And this has been Brainstorms and Bottom Lines, but it's all about business and bottom line. I've been your host, Rick Franzo. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for the next exciting episode. Stay gold and peace.